Bright Beauty. Every student matters.
Now let's look at the first question. What will happen if there are no platelets in the blood? So if there are no platelets in the blood, even the smallest wound would be fatal because there would be no blood clotting, right? And when there will be no blood clots, what will happen? The blood will keep on flowing from the wound and eventually the person might die because of the excessive loss of blood, right? So platelets actually help us in stopping the blood from flowing from a particular wound. What are the components of the blood? So there are basically 4 components of the blood, that is plasma, which forms the fluid part. Then you have RBC, that is the cell, WBC and platelets, right? These are the cells which are suspended in the plasma. Why is blood needed by all the parts of the body? The reason is that blood transports nutrition, that is the nutrients. It transports oxygen, removes carbon dioxide and waste material, right? And that is the reason why all the parts of the body require blood. What makes the blood look red? So the blood looks red because of the presence of hemoglobin, that is the red pigment, right? It is the red pigment which is present in your RBC. The absorption of nutrients and exchange of respiratory gases between blood and tissue takes place in veins, arteries, heart or capillaries. So the answer to this question is capillaries, because these are the vessels which reach each and every part of the body. These are formed by the division of the arteries and are able to reach all the parts and causes the exchange of respiratory gases and nutrients, and then they combine back to form veins. Veins have valves which allow blood to flow only in one direction. Arteries do not have valve, yet the blood flows in one direction only. Can you explain why? The reason to this particular question is that in arteries the blood flows with a jerk, right? What happens is when the heart is pumping the blood into the arteries, the blood is flowing rapidly inside the arteries, and because of that speed the blood is able to flow only in one direction, and that's the reason why arteries do not need walls to keep the blood from flowing in bidirectionally, right? So this is the reason why, because of the jerky and the rapid motion of blood inside the arteries, they do not need walls. So in this way, students, we talked about 2 components of the circulatory system, that is the blood and blood vessels. I hope you were able to understand the importance and the different cells associated with it. In the next session, we are going to talk about another very important part of the circulatory system, that is heart. Describe the function of the heart. So to describe the function of the heart, the basic thing which you can do is to explain that what is the structure of the heart. First of all, that it has 4 chambers and is made up of cardiac muscles. Then you can explain that how it produces heartbeat by the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of these muscles, right? With the help of this particular information, you will be able to describe the function of the heart. Also, if you are able to describe the flow of the heart within flow of the blood within the heart, that would also be helpful, right? So in this way, we are going to answer the question. That is, first of all, we are going to talk about the structure, right? And we are going to talk about the muscles that produce the heartbeat. And then we are going to talk about the flow of the blood, right? Always remember, students, that depending on the question, that is how much marks do the question has, according to that only you are going to answer your questions, right? Now, What is the special feature present in a human heart which does not allow mixing of blood when oxygen rich and carbon dioxide rich blood reach the heart? So this special feature is the division of heart in right and left chamber, right? So the division of heart happens in such a way that there are two chambers in which in one side there is a carbon dioxide rich blood and on the other side there is oxygen rich blood, and this division is such that these two types or these bloods which is oxygenated and deoxygenated do not mix together, right? Where is heart located in the human body? So heart is located in the chest cavity, and it is the lower tip of heart is tilted a little bit towards the left. What is the heartbeat? So heartbeat is the rhythmic, or it is produced by the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles of walls of heart, right? So the cardiac muscles contract and they relax, and this rhythmic contraction and relaxation is the is the heartbeat that we are able to hear and feel. Differentiate between atrium and ventricle. So to differentiate between the two, first of all, atrium and ventricle, this is the upper chamber and this is the lower chamber, right? Now atrium has thin walls as compared to the ventricles, right? So why it has thin walls? Because atrium receives the blood and ventricles, the pumping of the contraction and relaxation of the ventricle causes the pumping of blood into the pulmonary artery or pulmonary vein, right? So that is why we see that the difference of thickness of the wall is present in the atrium and the ventricle. So in this way, students, we talked about the heart and the structure of the heart. Also, we talked about how the flow of blood takes place within the heart. I hope you were able to understand this, and you will be able to answer all the questions that are related to this particular order.